All right, so this is Cruella. That's the newest live-action Disney movie. I guess it's more based on one of their 2D movies, the Dalmatian movies. It's directed by Craig Gillespie. So Estella, played by Emma Stone, that is, I guess, Cruella's real name, and Cruella is like this, really just like a alter ego she goes by in this movie, and she's living someplace with her mom, but she doesn't fit in because she has like this weird sense of style. She wants to be a fashion designer. Her mom ends up dead as they're about to flee because she got expelled, and so she's on her own, and she meets the two guys in this movie, Jasper and Horace. They steal and all that on the streets. She ends up getting a job at a department store, but she's kind of like a maid, and so she takes it upon herself to redesign this mannequin that's on display, and that's how she catches the eye of the Baroness, played by Emma Thompson. And there's a personal thing with those two eventually, so she's using her alter ego Cruella to really screw over Emma Thompson's character, the Baroness. And that's like the main plot of this, but there's some more things to be revealed between the two later on. As with most of these mediocre to bad live action Disney movies or Disney remakes, I just didn't really care for it, but there are quite a bit of positives here. I think Emma Stone is great. I think she pretty much carries this movie. Everything from her mannerisms to the just the way that she plays it. This different kind of accent that she has as Cruella, that works. The duality between Estella and Cruella, I think, works in this too. She and her character are the best thing of this, which I guess makes sense. Emma Thompson's really good too. Joel Fry and Paul Walter Hauser, they play Jasper and Horace. They're really good. Mark Strong is good as his character. All the acting, for the most part, is good. Even the child acting for the younger versions of Cruella, Estella, and the other two, her two cronies. That's all good. It's good production design. They spent money on it. It's a Disney movie. I mean, from a technical aspect, other than one thing, from a technical aspect, it's well done. The movie is for the most part watchable. All the stuff with the press and all that when Cruella is, messing up the Baroness's gala, and when she's, you know, trying to like pretty much like steal her thunder and all that, that is actually great. I loved that stuff, but I still had some issues with the writing. I guess we can start off with the soundtrack. I mean, the soundtrack is so overbearing. I mean, she's running away from some cops when she's a kid, and it's like, watch the dog, watch the dog. I was like, okay, I don't know what song this is, but there's a couple of songs that have to do with dogs in this, and it's almost like this property has something to do with dogs. I don't know. It was a theme I was picking up on. It is endless. Sympathy for the Devil. Come Together. There's a different version of that from the Beatles. There's Car Wash for no reason. I mean, it was. I think this is the first time I've ever really taken note of this. Maybe it's in other movies. Maybe I just didn't really pay attention to it in other movies. But it was like every other scene there was a song. It was ridiculous. It felt kind of cheap. It felt like you were trying to use the songs to get certain things across rather than actually having the scene play out. Like, it was so ridiculous to me. It was just endless. It was over and over and over again. They really padded out that soundtrack, and it was overbearing. It was too much, or it was like, okay, you're just pulling some recognizable song out. It was like Suicide Squad almost. The thing, I mean, it loses me pretty early on with the thing that happens with the mom when she dies. The way that she dies, I thought was utterly ridiculous. Not only that, but also I thought a lot of the things that she was doing with her little cronies, her buddies, I thought a lot of it was a little bit too far fetched. Like, especially the ending. There's this ending little thing that they're doing. It almost becomes, in certain aspects, like a heist movie in certain little jobs that they're doing. And there's a suspension of disbelief that I don't think I was able to get with with the final thing that they did, because they want so badly for this character to not be Cruella Deville. They, I mean, to the point where she's wearing a dress that has Dalmatian, dots on it, and there's this big question of, oh my God, she didn't kill those dogs to make that dress, did she? Is like, this is her character, like that. I mean, they're going out of her way to make her not evil. Like they want her to have this attitude and kind of be a badass, but they don't want to go full on Cruella Deville. They still want her to be sympathetic. They still want her to be pretty much the good guy here. And the Baroness is the one that's like insanely evil. I don't know how she gets away with half the shit that she does, and just does it just brazenly. I guess just because she's rich and famous. I guess. Speaking of getting away with things, there's plenty of things that her cronies, Cruella's people, Horace and Jasper, they there's plenty of times where they almost get caught or they're about to get caught, and then they get away or whatever, and then they're right back blending in some kind of costume or disguise, and it's like, how, do they not recognize these two? I mean, it gets to a ridiculous degree that that they don't get recognized when they're doing all this stuff, and they're wearing costumes, but they're not wearing masks or anything like that. Like you think that they would get recognized. That, I mean, that might be a nitpick. Like it irks me, it gets on my nerves with, like with Maleficent. Maleficent was evil for like one scene, the best scene in the movie, and then she's Aurora's godmother, right? She's a hero against the king, who's the real villain. In this movie, the three Dalmatians in it, oh, those are the real villains, not Cruella. She would never kill dogs and use their fur to make, to make outfits, even though that's her whole character. I don't like it, man. Like either these movies are too close, or they're so different that there's almost no point to them. I don't know. It doesn't work for me. She like makes a joke about killing a dog, like that it would make a nice dress or something like that, and her henchman's like, and she's like, I'm just kidding. She's not even able to be Cruella. This doesn't have to be Cruella. This could be something completely different, and it might actually work better because you don't have bullshit like that mid-credit scene, which has to do with Pongo and Perdita, the father and mother Dalmatians from the original movie. The it's just it just irks me so much. It irks me so much. I hate it. I hate the callbacks to the other Disney movie, which you're clearly not being. They also have to do the Cruella Deville song at some point, so they kind of squeeze it in at the end. As good as Emma Stone is, and as good as all the other actors are, and how certain things do legitimately work, there's some dialogue that I found legitimately interesting and funny. Nothing can truly save this movie from Disney mediocrity, right? This movie is mediocre. Anybody that's saying this movie is good is only really basing it on the other live action Disney remakes that we've gotten that would have been bad. Especially, I mean, we got Dumbo, Lion King, and Aladdin all in the same year. I mean, it was exhausting. Anyway, I'm gonna give it a rental, mainly because of I think Emma Stone is amazing in this, and for the things that do work. But I can't tell you how much I just did not care about a lot of this, and then a lot of it was predictable for this kind of movie and what it was going for, and what wasn't predictable was awful. Like the way the mother dies is like, oh shit. Everything that was going on with those Dalmatians is like, oof. But anyway, that's Cruella. I didn't like it. It's a rental. It's still watchable.